team here today. My name's Matthew, and just to go over a few housekeeping things just before we get started, we're going to try to keep these questions today to be around our Juice Technologies add-ons. If you have a question and you would like to participate, please try to raise your hand using the Zoom reactions. That would be super helpful. Just keep things orderly. And we're going to try to keep questions to about 5 to 7 minutes so we can make sure we can get to everyone. And then everyone in this room will be able to watch this video on YouTube. It will have Justin be able to parse this out and get the highlights for everyone. So you'll definitely be able to come back and watch this. Besides that, we do have today we have a full signatures setup. Signatures, it was already kind of gone over a little bit, but we're going to go through a bunch of different parameters and a couple different use cases on how you can use it. That should be super helpful. But before we get into that, we do want to give people the opportunity to kind of raise their hands and get started with that. So I do see we have an eager participant already. So Christopher, we'd love for you to ask your question, whether you want to put it in the chat or whether you want to go off mute.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Just hoping to get a little bit deeper understanding of some of the differences between Excel docs and Exact Forms Plus. And what I mean by that specifically is I know that Excel docs has obviously capability of interacting with Excel templates. I'm wondering if it kind of comes with some similar functionality to Exact Forms Plus. We're using Exact Forms Plus right now to kind of create PDFs and then compiling them and that sort of thing. But it turns out that we also need some functionality to inject data into spreadsheets. And I'm just wondering if Excel docs would also take care of kind of that PDF creation from a Word doc template.
So really no, that's why they're two separate add-ons. It can create a PDF, but it won't be from a Word doc. It would be from an Excel sheet.
Got it.
So if you wanted to format your Excel sheet and almost as if put the print preview on so you can see how many cells are being displayed, that would be the best way to see what you're going to be printing as a PDF. But that's the PDF output you'd be able to see with Excel. If you needed to do the rows of data, like as if you would use Excel, Excel docs would be the better choice. You can use both, of course.
Sure. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was kind of my assumption. I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Anything else about that or no?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for asking. All right, great. Thanks for getting us started off strong. So now this is open forum. So if anyone has questions, comments, concerns about any of our add-ons, does not need to be about signatures. We'd be happy to answer those. There's a bunch of new faces here today, which is great to see. So for those of you who, we do. Ethan, great. Thanks for jumping up. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for your time.
Yeah,
so the thing we want to talk about is the integration reads of Quickbase. We use Exact Forms Plus for one of our applications, and it's really important to the flow there. But it does use up a lot of integration reads on our account, and we're starting to reach a point where we have to budget really tightly on those. Since Juiced is a certified partner with Quickbase, and you guys are one of their preferred third-party partners, we were wondering if there's any chance of negotiating for you guys to not cost integration reads when we use your guys' services on our Quickbase data. If you guys can reach out to the Quickbase team or find something about that, we'd be really interested in continuing to use Juiced without costing us too much integration.
Right. Well, Keith's going to jump in, so I'll let him.
It's a good question. Unfortunately, we don't have that much pull with Quickbase when it comes to that that question, I guess. The integration reads, but it really varies too per document or template how many reads we would actually perform. So if it was a simple document and it wasn't calling any subtables, then the minimum reads would be probably about 4 reads per document creation. Once you start bringing in subtables, it's another read. When we grab the data for the subtable, we do one call to bring back, let's say, 50 line items. So it's not like for every line item that comes back, it's one call. I mean, one call per line item. It's one call per bringing back that chunk of data. So we do understand that it does go against your read requests quota, but Quickbase really, I doubt they're gonna allow us to say, hey, if you're using a juiced add-on, we won't include that towards your quota of API calls, unfortunately.
Okay, we were on the phone with them yesterday and we were trying to make the same sort of argument. So we just thought we'd talk to both sides and see if we can make something happen perhaps.
We'd be happy, obviously we'd love for that to happen because we don't want to, we obviously don't want you to not use our add-on because of, API call quota. So we can always bring it up during our partner meetings with Quickbase. I don't really think we're going to get a successful response or a positive response from that conversation, but we will bring it up.
Okay, that's very understandable. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, thanks for bringing that up. And what I was going to mention, and Keith did a great job mentioning it too, is just, it depends on how many things you're bringing in. So if you have a bunch of images you're bringing into your document, that would, of course, cause more reads. So if you were really tight on them, you might want to think about limiting that.
Yeah, we can always, work with you to see how we can minimize the calls. If there's an opportunity to minimize the calls, but if you do have a certain amount of data you need to include in your documents, we're not going to be able to minimize those. Images are tough because since they're stored in file attachment fields in Quickbase, we have to do an extra call for every image. So if you were displaying about five images that were in file attachment fields throughout your Quickbase application, that's 5 additional calls because it's a call to a file to download the file from a file attachment field.
Yeah, that's not the case in our use, but we might reach out to you guys for some advice for cutting down on that.
Sure. Be happy to go through that with you.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you for asking. All right. So still open forum. If anyone has questions regarding add-ons, regarding questions, comments, concerns, got another one. All right, Claire.
Hi, sorry, I just joined on. Maybe this is a quick question. I'm wondering if for the EFPs, when we do subtables, can I have that print on a landscape instead of portrait? I just tried doing that, and even though my margins are set wider, it looks like the subtable is still appearing kind of narrow as if it's like the width of a portrait. Is there a way to stretch it out? Because the columns would just look a lot better if they were wider.
Well, my question, I guess, is when you use the subtable configurator, you're changing the column widths, correct?
No, where is that setting?
So I guess I can share my screen really quickly. Just give me a moment to pull something up.
Yeah, so in the subtable configurator, while Matt's pulling that up, you can specify the width of every column in your subtable. So that will help you expand it to the full width of the page.
Oh, I see it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you see it? It's right now.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up the configurator now. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, it's loading.
Yeah, yeah. So this is just projects to tasks, and I'll just skip to this subtable fields. Right here, this column width.
Okay, perfect.
You can adjust these, very quickly. So if I wanted to make this instead of 60, if I wanted to make this 100, I would just put 100 there. But this is like a date, so 60 was probably good. But for something that might be like a description field, obviously you'd want to have more. So maybe task name here is 200 for a reason. So if I were to just close this out, and I'm pretty sure the first project is generating that subtable, you'll see that all the columns have variable widths based off of what was selected there. So task name is much larger than start or milestone.
Got it.
Yeah, we default to 50. It's really like a pixels or a TWIPS. Just for reference, 72 pixels is an inch. So when you're in there and if you wanted it to be an inch, and you could start with 72, and that should give you that inch, and then you could just play around with it to get the sizing that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
And if I have time, could I ask another quick question?
Sure.
For sure.
Okay, thank you. It sounded like you were just talking about the PDF merger. Is that correct? The question before me?
It was actually for Exact Forms Plus, I believe, too. But if you have a PDF merger question, you can ask away.
Oh, could you just specify what you were saying about the usage when it comes to adding file attachments?
Well, it really comes down to the plan you have with Quickbase. So I would assume Ethan has an API usage plan, not a user-based plan. Is that correct, Ethan?
We are on a user plan, and that means we have a certain number of hundreds of thousands of API reads.
Okay.
And then once we go over that budget, then they're going to start charging us as much as 11 cents per read, which we think is really steep. So we're trying to avoid going over our budget.
I'm gonna write that down because that's a lot. Okay.
That's
That is
why
a
we
lot.
were on the phone with those guys for like an hour and a half yesterday talking about that. It was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, no, that is a lot.
Were
Okay,
you
so that's
talk-
on the Quickbase end. Okay.
Yeah, Ethan, were you talking to your account manager or is it an engineer or?
It was the account manager, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that insight, Ethan, because we're kind of I guess clients of Quickbase as well, so we don't have too much inside information on stuff like that either. So we wish we could give more inside, but we sometimes are in the dark as well.
And Claire, to go back to your question, if you were using PDF merger, if you were again pulling multiple images from different file attachment fields, it would be one read call per file attachment field. And then we would, with our PDF merger, we convert those images to PDFs so that they can be in a merged PDF. So every one of those images that we might be grabbing is going to cost you one API read.
Okay, so it's one API read per image for Quickbase, but then on your end, that only counts as one call for the PDF merger tool.
It's for us, yes. For our usage, yes. One, if you were merging 10 images and PDFs together into a single document, that single document is what is considered one transaction for us.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for getting that clarified. All right, so I've been loving the participation today. It'd be awesome if we can keep the ball rolling. Who's got the next question? I do see some new faces here, so for those of you who are new, you can also put it in the chat if you don't feel like coming on and speaking. That's fine too. Oh, Zachary, awesome. You have the floor.
I have a couple questions about e-signing, but I'm not sure if I'm just jumping ahead from what y'all will be talking about after this open forum.
That's fine. You could ask away.
I am curious just about the pricing and if y'all's e-signature requirements will or will it meet federal requirements for e-signing?
So I have two notes to say about that. I don't know if Keith wants to jump in first, but
Nope, you got it. Go ahead.
So our DocuSign integration is DocuSign. So whatever DocuSign standing has, that would be whatever legal binding they have. You would have that statute. We're actually connecting with them to direct integration.
Cool.
So that's what it is for DocuSign, and we had a pretty great office hours session on that 2 weeks ago. That you can definitely watch if you are interested in using that integration. The other thing we have, and maybe Keith might want to jump in on this one, is we're both kind of twinning, wearing the same shirt. We have Juiced Sign coming out soon, and I'm going to let Keith go on to the terms and conditions when it comes to that. I don't know if you want to jump into that, Keith.
Yeah, well, before we get to Juiced Sign, our regular signature add-on, which Matt's going to go through in a little while.
Yep.
That one is just a scratch pad. So it's really like, when you click a button, it opens up a scratch pad, we capture signature, we store it back in Quickbase. So it's really not going to be anything elaborate like a DocuSign and so on. So DocuSign obviously is the de facto, authority in electronic signatures. We are coming out with our own add-on called JuiceSign, and we're not, we plan on doing as much as possible to make that as regular as official as possible. So we'll be going through and making sure that all the things that we do conform to the guidelines that make it considered a legally binding signature. But our signature itself, our signature scratch pad, I don't think you can consider that one a legally binding signature. I mean, it's a signature. It's just almost like what you have when you sign up for a delivery from FedEx or UPS or so on.
Right. Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Sure. Thanks for asking. All right. We've been on a roll. See if we can keep it going. Does anyone else have questions, comments, concerns? So don't be shy. There's no silly question. There's no question not worth asking. But if not, I think I'm going to go ahead and move forward with our juiced signatures demo. So just share my screen. And this one's going to be a pretty simple one for everyone to follow along with, but I'm going to try to go from step A to Z and go through the entire thing and show you guys a bunch of different parameters and how you can use them to your benefit. So if you're a client of ours, you'll have access to the Juice Cloud. If you don't, please reach out to us because you definitely should have access. And I'm in our account right now, so obviously you see everything is active. For most of you, you'll see a couple of add-ons active and that's it. But I'm going to navigate to this signatures tile here. And from within here, as always, you have two options. You can set up another table or authorize a new app. I did authorize my lease management office hours app. So I'm just going to click on that one. And I have gone through this setup a couple times in different office hours sessions. So I don't really need to buzz through this too quick. I just want to show you guys when you first come in, you do need to do this. So you have those signatures buttons on your app. So I'm just going to throw them, I'm just going to put it into the fresh table and I'm going to hit finish. And it's that simple for the signatures setup. And that's one of the great things about it. It really is as simple as just one click. When I go into there, I did it just before this, but you'll see I have these sign off buttons. Now these two I did before and these two I did after. You see, you'll actually get a 2 after that. So if you put it in twice, it'll just add the same fields, just with a 2 after it. And you get sign off medium and then sign off mobile. And before I go in, and I'm going to show you guys the demo app for it, but this is what you would see on your end. If you guys were to install it into your app fresh, this is what you'll see. You'll get a signature file, which is just a file attachment field. And that's where that signature is going to go. And then you're going to have a date. And this is just going to basically populate the date of the signature. And then the sign off button. Now, when you click this, one thing I noticed, and I think we need to speak to Rohit about this, is it doesn't actually go the full length to hit save. So we do need to make that a little bit bigger. And one of the first things I'm going to show you guys is how to make that a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to close that for now. And let's open this up. So you just set the field properties, and something feedback that I've gotten from a lot of clients recently is that these parameters are scary. And that this is what intimidates them a lot into what they want to change. And they kind of are a little nervous to change this. So just to begin, for this add-on, everything above line 6 and up, you really never need to change. There's really no need to come in here and change these 6. It's not going to really affect anything you're going to do. You don't really need to take any of this out. So just pretend like this isn't there and kind of try to focus on everything from below so that you guys can actually make changes. So the first one, line 8, FAID, this is the file attachment ID. So this is field 13 that we're updating with the file attachment once it's completed. So once you sign, that's where that signature is going to go. Update FID, this is same thing as if you have Exact Forms Plus, as many of you do. Instead of EFP DTE, it's update FID. So this is just the date time field. So this is field 14 is the field we're updating. And then like I was saying before, we're going to change that size. So we're going to change size from M to L. And I'm actually going to show you guys a bunch of these parameters, but you can find that right here. So if I were to go to our help site and then signatures, formula URL parameters, you'll see size. So we just have some standard sizing, small, medium, large. So we're just going to try that as L. And besides that, we have the file name, which is similar in all of our add-ons. So FN, and that's just signature underscore record ID. And then we have these two FIDs here. I'm going to show you guys these in a moment. And then these are some titling, components here. And I'm also going to show you guys these in a moment. So I'm just going to hold off on that. I'm just going to save this now. And although this says sign off medium, oh, so see, it didn't change the box size. So really, that's not, I changed the box size of my sign off space. That's not really what we wanted to change. So let's go back into that and field properties. And what we're actually going to be looking at is down here, line 17, because this is a rich text field. We have the data height and data width. So what we really want to do is now, because we're pretty close, let's change 450 to 550, and the width is fine. And you know what? Let's actually even go a little bigger. Let's do 650, and we'll save that, and we'll press it, and there we go. See how that's much larger, and there's your save. And I'm pretty sure 650 is what we recommend. I could actually check that really quickly. If you scroll up, and this is something I'm going to be doing in a moment, is I'm going to be showing people also to kind of double up on today is we have old JavaScript some places, and we have these rich text, how to convert it to rich text. We actually have some sizing recommendations here. So maybe we should make these more pronounced. But for QB signatures, the recommended height is 650 and the recommended width is 700. So in this case, we kind of did that here. We had the height as 650 and the width as 800. So that's just the recommendations that we have on there. So we'll go in and change that. But again, this is what you would have from a fresh setup. So if you guys went onto the Juice Cloud right now and did the setup to follow along, that's what you guys would see. For those of you who want to use it on a mobile device, we do have it a little bit different. We have it as a formula URL field. And the reasons for that is because the rich text fields don't pop up on your mobile device. If you have Android and you have difficulties, please let us know. You may want to end up using the browser version and not the mobile app. And we can talk to you about it. Please reach out if you are using Android and having difficulties. We can definitely help you through that. But the other one, you just want to have it open in a new window, and that will have the image display on mobile. And I'm not going to show that today because I don't have my mobile device to show it, but that's what the sign off mobile will do. All right. Any questions so far? I've gotten feedback that sometimes I need to stop and ask questions. So, all right. So I just switched over to our demo app. So if you were to go to our master demo, which can be found from our website, and clicked on QB signatures, you're going to get this page. And there's kind of a lot going on, but I'm going to go through a little bit step by step. Our simple signatures here, and it says sign off small. And if you notice, it's nothing too crazy here. It's kind of the same stuff I said before. Everything above line 6, don't worry about it. You really don't need to look at it. For this, the file attachment ID is 14. The update field is 15. The size of the signing area is small. So that's what we just discovered before. It's the signing area. As you can see too, the data height and width, 650, 700, the recommended sizes. The file name, we actually have milliseconds time of day to now. So we're adding to the file name, signature and now. And then we're also using FID1 and FID2. So if we go look, and let's go back to the help site so we can see what those are. So we're back to the signature form URL parameters. And we have here, this parameter indicates signatures that you want to use to enter like some text with the signature. So if you want to enter some data with the signature, you want to use these two, and you want to update these fields with that text. So if we want to update fields 16 and 17 with that, we want to use these two parameters. So let's go take a look at what that looks like. So again, that was this one, and we're updating fields 16 and 17, which is full name and title. So let's click that. Let's see. So we have our signature pad here, and I could do Matt as my name, and now they want to put my full name in. So we'll put Matthew, and we'll do CSM, and these are required. One thing I saw in those parameters is you can make them unrequired as well, but we're gonna just do this now. So signature saved, close, it refreshes. There's my name in field 14, and there's Matthew CSM. So that's a cool way where you can update both of those. And we actually have a way, and we've been asked this, on how you can update even more fields using that. So I'm going to jump over to these advanced features, and I'm going to go into the sign here with additional details. And let's just open this one up for a second. So if you notice again, let's just go down, and below here, you have CList, which is the only new one. So these 5 fields we want to update, and let's go look at what it says here. So for CList, you can include up to 5 fields. You don't have to do 5, but 5 fields on the signature capture form that will then update on your record. So 867, whatever the sample fields might be. And I think they do happen to correlate. So let's click on this button and update some fields. So if I were to click here, this one opens up in a new tab, and let's do MT just to make it different. And let's change my last name to Technologies.
If you notice that C-list was 5 different fields,
Right.
and we're dropping those fields with using the field names themselves from the table. So the first field was last name, then you had document type, and so on. So it's really, we're giving you the ability to change the user interface that the customers see, and collect data from that user who's signing off and storing that back in Quickbase.
Right. And yeah, so and one of the other things I'll show you guys, and Sean, I see you have a question, so I'll just stop right there and hold this screen, and let's answer your question.
All right. So the order that you had those fields in that C list, is that how it's going to show up on that screen? So where it's 5 is going to be 1 and 2. The first 2 will be on the first row, second 2 on the second row, and so on.
I do believe so. So last name is 8, and here's last name 8. And if you notice, let's see, let's go back into that button. So here's 8, and then the next one over was document type, which was 67. Oh boy. So let's see if we can find 67. I actually don't know where that field is offhand. But yeah, I believe document type will be 67. Let's see if I can just jump down to it this way. Document type C7. So I think that's pretty safe to say. And then sent email link. So let's see if we can go back and just confirm with a third. So we're not making too many assumptions. So last one's 55. And 55 should be sent email link, which I believe is right here. Yeah. So I think that's safe to say that yes, it will be in that order.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, for sure. So when I update these fields and I hit save, you'll see that the last name will likely become Technologies. And let's just give that a refresh. And there you go. Last name is Technologies. I made the title CEO. And I don't know where that other field is, honestly, but that one's going to be changed to contract. And that's just one way to show additional fields on there. And I think that's pretty cool and has a lot of potential for use cases there. Something else for this one, if you notice it opened up in a new page, that's because we had in a new window here. That almost was mimicking like the mobile button view. And this is with a formula URL. So I'll actually show you guys. I think we have another one that's using a formula URL. Let's see with the parameters encoded. Yeah, so this is using in a pop-up with a formula URL. And this is with Quickbase's just native pop-up. You'll notice how small this is. And that kind of looks a little wonky. Yes, you can certainly just stretch it out. But that's why we have the rich text parameters that Justin sent in to the chat. Thank you, Justin. That's so that you can control how large that is. Because when you look at this, you'll actually notice these light blue buttons are almost always rich text. You can pick how large you want the pop-up window to be. We actually used to use JavaScript to do that. Quickbase no longer likes JavaScript, so that's why we've moved to the formula rich text. But these URL fields work fine for like Exact Forms Plus, for example. But for anything that's opening an interacting pop-up window, you probably want to go with the rich text fields. All right. Again, I'm going to pause. Does anyone have any questions before I continue to additional use cases? And I apologize for the stuffy nose. It might sound a little nasally in here. All right. Let's see. So sign here with expiration URL. So this is a cool one too. And I want to show you guys what's going on here. So right now, well, one, we have JavaScript in here. So I could quickly show you guys how to convert a JavaScript page. And I think that might be worth some time. So let's see, what do we have going on here? So let's just do that quick. So if I go back to the rich text version of that, I have here, I have a bunch of steps on highlighting kind of where to find the JavaScript and what to replace it with. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to save that. But first, we're just going to want to change this field type right now to URL. Let's change, actually, let's not do it to this one because this is the expired URL. I think there's another one here. Let's see. I think we had one more. This one, okay. So this is a JavaScript one as well. This one, we probably want to change to a formula rich text first. And then we're just going to take out this whole first line and put in our text URL. And then we're going to take this whole bottom line here. And this, we put in just some sample stuff just to kind of be a placeholder. We're just going to take out this whole last line and paste that in. You have to make sure to get the semicolon in here. That's very important, or else it will not work. And then right here, just to go across, there's a couple different things. One, we're doing open as pop-up. Vibrant success, that's that blue, what Justin sent in about the styling. There is, some more colors you can do: vibrant, alert, danger, primary. We're not going to get into that today. Height and width, we had it at 1,000. This one's actually supposed to show height and width, so I'm interested to see if that changes it or not. And name the button here. We're just going to change that to sign here. And we'll do with custom sizing because that's what it was called. And you'll now see that shows that here, the blue button with custom sizing. Let's see, what does it take? So I think it took 1,000, but I believe, and Manal, I think you're here. The H and W, is that for the signing pad? Because I mean, that 900 and 1,000 is huge. So that would make sense to why that would be the signing pad.
It's the signing pad.
It is a signing pad. Okay, so these control, these H and the W, it's very similar to, and I'll just go back to the formula URL parameters. It's very similar to the size parameter. It's just a way to get more granular with it. So if you wanted to have, the different numbers and custom size signing pad. So we might want to add that to the size one as well.
Yeah, if you didn't want to use small, medium, or large, you wanted your own custom, you can use the H and W, and then you can get your own custom sized signing pad.
Right, right.
But the window is going to be controlled by that last line in the formula field that Matt.
Great. Yeah. So, if we wanted to make that back to, let's do 650 and 700. So that's, let's do 750. So that's something a little bit more reasonable. Yeah.
But your signing pad was big.
Still huge, but yeah, we'll change that too. So we can, so let's do it smaller than that. So it's not the whole thing. Let's do 250 and let's do 400. Let's see. That looks a little bit better. Excuse me. So that's what that'll be. And so we're jumping around a little bit, but let's go back. And what I was going to show you guys was the expire URL. So this is a cool one, and it's not going to be for everyone, but for those of you who want to use signatures with a little bit more security, this would be a good thing to have. So first, I'm going to copy the link address. And when you click this button, it's just really a regular signature, but you notice that we have our request parameters in there. I don't know why it's taking a little bit longer right now, maybe because I'm clicking around things too quick. Let's try this again. Let's just do that. Did I break it? Let's see if I click another one. Did I lose internet? Is everyone there? Well, we're hanging. How about this? Let's do that. Let's start over. I was pressing too many things too quick, Keith.
Is Manal still here? Manal, can you just check the demo server? This is running on
Yeah,
our
it is
demo server.
working. I checked, it is working for me. Everything loaded up fine.
It's already on it. All right.
You're trying to do advanced features? What are you trying to do?
No, I'm just trying to click the, oh, there you go.
There you go.
Sometimes
Okay.
all you need is Manal to come on the line. All right.
Now, why don't you show how it fires off Exact Forms Plus by signing off?
I was going to save that to the end as kind of a cherry on top.
Oh,
But,
all right. Sorry, I'm stealing your thunder then.
Yeah. No, it's okay. All right. Wait, and that's terms and conditions. Which one's the sign off to have? Because here's the arguments. Which one is that, Keith?
The one you're on right now.
This one? Yeah. Okay. Right. So basically this one is going to do is when I click this to sign, it's actually going to kick off Exact Forms Plus to go off, and it's actually going to add that signature as well. So right down here, you see that these have EFP arguments. And these EFP arguments get created when you do Exact Forms Plus batch from the cloud. So if you wanted to do this setup, the first thing you'd want to do is you'd actually want to install Exact Forms Plus batch to the table that you want to do this from. And when you do that, you'll get this field, EFP arguments. And you want to make sure that these arguments kind of include the information that you normally want to have for Exact Forms Plus. So as long as your Exact Forms Plus button, which here's an example of one here, is set up, as the way you normally like it. Now, the difference between the arguments field and this, which is the web version, is, you'll see that there's a bunch of different ampersands here and ampersands here. Or if I go back to the arguments, we're actually going to be sending this over an email. So it's just a little bit less going on, and we don't have that web address either. So these are the arguments for Exact Forms Plus. And when we click this button and sign, we'll do that now. We'll do T, you know, E, F. Wow, that's bad. P. We'll close that out. So by doing that, I actually just kicked off. And if you go to your settings and you go to email notifications, and if we hit, I think it's this one, Exact Forms Plus Batch, we're actually emailing EFP Batch, which is our server, and Keith, and we're emailing them based off of the sign-off date for the auto-create document. So that's just the date time field of that signature itself. And when that's not equal to blank, this is what's getting sent. So that regular EFP args. And let's go back and let's see. Did this document generate at? Let's see. So there you go, MT-EFP. That's a horrible E, but yes, this was generated based off of that signature date. So that's just one way, you can kind of couple these add-ons together, is based off of a signature, you could have a document created. And that works really well, especially for people who are signing in the field. So you might have a field agent, someone at the door, and they have someone sign right there. When you refresh the screen, you'll have your document created with their signature there. Those pair really well together. And it's fairly simple to do. It's just a matter of making that email notification.
Matt, click on that tab, the sign auto create. Yeah. What it also did was, so when he signed off on that, so signatures updated the first date and time, which caused an email notification to be sent to our batch processor to generate the document. But what also happened was, after the batch processor updated that date time, we fired off our Courier product, which now downloaded the file with the signature and then emailed it to whatever email address was on this record. So this is a good situation where if you're in the field and you're grabbing a signature, maybe from a work order or from a customer, once you grab their email address and enter it into this record, you can grab their signature, generate a document, and have it emailed right to them. So it's combining 3 different add-ons here, and it's using email notifications to automate that workflow.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely very impressive, and it works really well. Obviously, you saw it happen in real time right there. And so that's definitely a great one to show. Let's say, same situation almost, and you want to have something sent out, but you're not in person, and you want to have this expire URL sent, but you almost want to have it sent over an email link also. And this is something that we don't always show, but if I uncheck this, I'm going to send a different email notification out to myself and Keith, because I was the body person that should be sent to. And when that is changed, I'm sending myself that link. And let's go take a look at that link so you guys can see how simple this really is. If you look at this link, it's actually just our signatures information here. There's really nothing special about it. We're just displaying it not as a link. So when I get that, I get this email right here, and it says click here to sign. So when I click here, I'm getting that signature, and it's opening it up, and Matthew, and I'll do T, and then I'll do CS and 2, so you guys can see the change. Save. I'm just going to close that out, close this out. So I really sent myself this clickable version of this. And when I go back to the demo, and let's see if I refresh, oh no, it's going to be on this page. There's that Matt, and you'll see CSM2 and Matthew T get updated there.
Right. So one use case for this is maybe you want to send out an email for a signature to a non-Quickbase user. Yeah, all the other times we're in here, we're clicking buttons and we're in Quickbase. But what Matt just showed you here was a way to send out an email that had the code behind those buttons embedded in that little link in the email. So I could have sent it to anybody who's Quickbase user or not, and they click on that link. It opens up the signature pad, lets us capture the signature. And then you could also did the same thing with fire off Exact Forms Plus to generate the document, fire off Courier to email it.
Right. right? And just, just to make a point though, this link, it's just a formula URL field. We're just not displaying it as a button, and we're using sign here link only as the way to show that. So typically we always have this checkbox check displays button, but that's why we have it just as a link there. So pretty cool version of that, just to show. Something else, and I believe I showed this actually on 3 office hours ago, or when we did the high level overview, is we could also add some terms. So let's just go back here so we can take a look at these parameters. So if I wanted to add right here, it says file attachment of a document that you would like to have show terms and conditions. So we have, file attachment, so FA, so file attachment terms, FAID. So what we have, and we have here in this sign here, this is not the right one. Yeah. So file attachment terms, FAID is 9. So whatever it is in field 9, we're going to show. So if I click here, you're going to see that I have an option here to click here, view terms. And I can just open this up, and this could be whatever the sample document is. Obviously, it could be whatever you put in there. So for this field ID 9, that's what we have there. Whatever your terms are, you would just include in that file attachment field. So it's pretty cool that we can do that as well. And yeah, I mean, that's one of the many ways you can have that work. So as you can see, I mean, signatures has a lot of different capabilities that aren't necessarily, in the standard setup. So when you do it from the cloud, like I was showing you guys, and this is what you're getting, you don't always get all of these features automatically included, but you absolutely can add them, and they're all provided to you on the help site. And I just want to also make sure that you guys know how to add these, or at least how I add them. So let's pick one. I go back into here. So see how it says FID 1 and 2. So let's just pretend 2 wasn't there. So, I'll just take that out. My recommendation is, if you wanted to add a parameter or whatever it might be, is to just copy one above it and then just paste it in. And now you'll have kind of the mold for it, and everything between the ampersand and the equal sign is what you should be taking, from the help site. So obviously for this one, it's the same one, so it's really not the best example, but you'd want to take, these examples here where it says sample. Excuse me. Thank you. You would want to take that right from here so that you have these information for you. So, maybe I'll add the title after this. So, I would just do FID 2 and change that to 17. So that's supposed to be field 17. And for here we have, okay, this is the file attachment terms. Let's say I want to include a title, and I want to write in a title. So I'm just going to copy this right here. Actually, I'll do this first. I'll copy this line now, and I'll hit enter. And now I want to take this part right here that I have. So I'll just copy that, and I'll just put that right in there. And if I read this one, it says, okay, so title to include custom message to appear at the top of the box. So I want the custom message to be, this is the custom message.
One more thing to point out is the order in this,
right,
it doesn't matter. So you can have FID 1 after FID 2, you can have titled dialogue at the very top. So as long as it's after the first 6 lines, like Matt said, if you're going to inject anything, I would leave the first 6 lines alone and just start entering after it. But there's no order. It doesn't matter which way.
Right. So now we have that title field, and we just added that. Oh, geez. All right. Yeah, we can just do this quick. To and then the window. All right. So now when I sign here, this is the custom message. So I added that just like that, and that was from the help site. So I could draw a little smiley face, and happy, done, and check. So that's just one of the ways you can, kind of add to your, different fields that have the parameters in them. That's really for all of our add-ons too. And that's something, that is feedback we've gotten from these, which is great. And that's why we love doing it. Is, we get, real feedback. And, with Exact Forms Plus, it's the same way. It looks very similar, but these are the Exact Forms Plus parameters. We have a ton of parameters here that really allow you to do some awesome stuff. But you just have to be confident in yourself to make those changes. Or if you don't feel confident and you want to reach out to us, please do, so we can help you, get the most out of these add-ons, because you really can do a lot of cool stuff with these. And it's pretty simple to make those changes as long as you, go ahead and start adding them. Just like Keith said, just, there's, and I think I said it too, anything above really line, let's say 7 for this one, don't touch that. But if you don't touch that and you just want to add some additional parameters in at the bottom, you can really start, getting, some cool results out of these add-ons. So I think that's just about everything. I guess since we have a couple minutes, I'll just show you this expire URL because I just learned this one myself. So if I look at behind the scenes of these terms, you'll see there's this XID for expire, and this juiced add-on token is something that is basically, it's cryptic. We can provide it to you if you need it, but this expire URL is basically going to say, I'm going to copy this link address, that if I make a change to anything on the document, this shouldn't work. So let's go back and let me press this button. So I press this button, and actually, no, I think so. I need to press that button, and then let's see if I change this to be, let's say, test company. And I hit save, and then I pasted in what I had before. Boy, that was not what I wanted. Let's see. No, how did we do this before? Copy link address.
Matthew, copy the URL first, modify the record, and then execute. Right?
Why is it taking me that though?
Okay, get rid of that. Okay, and then you should have, okay.
Yeah, well,
No, you didn't copy it right.
That's on me for not being a good copier. Because this is with
We just did it, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's taking the whole thing, because that's taking the JavaScript too in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a bad button to use.
Funny that we got that to work before though. All right, let's take that out quick. Let's try that again. For those of you who have ever been afraid to take out the JavaScript, it's that easy sometimes. All right, let's copy the link address. Let's test co 2. And now let's see if I paste that. There you go. So essentially what that was saying was, at the time that I copied that link address, if the record wasn't exactly the same, or if it was modified at all, then don't allow them. So your request to execute the signature has expired. So that's one way if you're going to be sending out, these signature requests. But if, let's say it's an invoice or a quote, and let's say the quote total had changed since, well, you don't want them to be able to sign that, and they can say they signed off on one number when you sent them another. So that's one of the reasons why you would use that feature, and that's an expired URL feature. I don't know if they have that. So yeah, so that's this right here. But obviously, if I were to click that, no problems when it's not expired. Oh, lost it though. All right, so we got about 4 minutes left. One about the full time. We were worried about the amount of time we were going to spend on this one, but we made it pretty far, so I'm happy about that. Any last minute questions before we let you guys go? Questions, comments, concerns? Seems like we're all good. Well, I hope this was an informative session for everyone today. You know, we did get some good questions at the beginning. We really appreciate those. Ethan, maybe we'll come back to you and talk about how we can help out and see if we can. Oh, Sean, is your hand raised? Or is that still from before? Could be from before.
No,
so.
no, he's clapping for you, I think. He's
Clapping.
clapping for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever gotten that one. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys coming, and you know, hopefully we'll see you guys again next Wednesday for the next session.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.